Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Super excited. I got Greg Kafka on here and Nick Whitehouse with Lee & Associates. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
Of course. So you guys are obviously in commercial real estate with Lee & Associates. Tell a little bit about yourselves, how you got into the business, how long you've been in the business, and how you got here today.
All right, no worries. I'll go first, and Nick, you can jump in.
Sounds good.
So been in commercial real estate now for a little over 11 years, and I came to commercial real estate kind of through the back door. I started off in construction and development. So graduated from ASU from the Del Webb School of Construction. So I've always loved to see how things get built. But then, doing that for 10 years or so, I was looking at pro formas and seeing line items for commissions, and as much as that's fun to see stuff go up, it's more fun to see the money going out. So I thought to myself, man, I'm in the wrong side of this business.
Look at that. I want some of that.
Yeah. So that's when I decided it's time to do what I can to get into brokerage. And the other thing that drew me to brokerage from the construction side is that it's much more of a, it's not an adversarial relationship. It's more people, trying to find common ground and get deals done than it is in the contracting game, where it's more, okay, here's the plans, here's the bids, here's how we're going to change order yet, and it's just constantly people trying to prove each other wrong and get change orders approved. So that adversarial relationship there just gets real old. And so with my personality, I like to make people happy. So that's kind of how I got into brokerage. And I've been on the Capola Cheney team for my entire brokerage career. Yep. So I was kind of a homegrown Lee & Associates broker. And having Craig and Andrew as partners has been fantastic. I mean, they're two of the best brokers in the game and well respected in the community. So to have them as Craig not only as my mentor and partners, it's just been I consider them friends as well. So it's been just a ton of fun.
Yeah, good people to learn from, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Nick, how about yourself?
Yeah, so similar to Greg, I've spent my entire career also on the Capola Cheney team, though a little bit shorter. So I'm about 2 years in now. Started right out of college. While I was in college, I actually had an internship at Cressa, which is where kind of my love for real estate first started. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Kind of had some banking internships as well. Thought that might be one of the path I'd go down, but yeah, after that first internship, just seeing the dynamic industry, how every day is not the same, and like Greg mentioned, seeing these super cool buildings going up, it was just something I had to be a part of.
Love it. The Capola Cheney group. Tell me a little bit about the making of that.
Yeah, no problem. So Craig Capola, the founding principal, he's actually one of the founding principals of the Lee & Associates Phoenix office. So what makes Lee & Associates a little bit different than the rest of the brokerage houses that you will see around town is we're principal owned. So we own the business. We are a nationwide company. We're a nationwide company, but at the same time, locally owned. Yep. So what that means, if you're a principal at Lee & Associates, then you participate in profit sharing. You own the local offices, so we can be a lot more nimble, a lot more aggressive when it comes to handling and dealing with our clients and doing the best things that we can for them. And Craig is one of the founding principals of this Phoenix office. There's about 65, 66 now, I think, nationwide. So it's a great platform to be a part of. And then Andrew Cheney, he was recruited by Craig as a runner, similar to what Nick is now, and he came to Craig via the professional tennis circuit. Yeah. So he is a reformed tennis player.
Oh, cool.
And kind of was trained up by Craig, became a member of his team, and then just over the years, that's kind of how I fell in and joined them. So that kind of how we make up the core team. Right now it's the three principal brokers. There's Craig, Andrew, myself. We've got two runners right now, so which Nick is one of. We've got Carter Gerardo, who is our second runner.
Awesome. And
then we've got several other key people, basically the glue that keeps us together with Chelsea Clifton and Tamisha Roberto. So overall, including interns, we've got we're up to 12 people now on our team.
Cool.
Like that. So what that means is bandwidth.
Yep.
We can handle any deal, any development. We can, and we've got the bench strength to be able to handle anything that's thrown our way.
And you guys primarily handle office?
Correct.
Correct.
We do primarily office, but we also do industrial.
Okay.
We do a little bit of retail now.
Yep.
And we also do land sales. We dispositions and leasing. So we full service brokerage all the way,
Yep.
which is nice to have. On a single team. And the good news about that is that it kind of keeps us diverse, keeps us on our toes, and we're always learning as well. So it's fun to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And touching on that learning aspect, being kind of the young blood on the team, just being able to learn, frankly, as little tennis comparison from Federer, Nadal, and Novak has been just amazing. I can't even describe the knowledge that these guys have given me so far.
Love it. That's a good trio right there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
One of the things that impressed me with you, Greg, was one of the masterminds that we kind of sat in together, and you were kind of just spewing off all the different commercial stuff going on in the Valley. And you knew about like literally every project going on in the Valley. It was pretty cool to just literally hear, okay, wow, this guy literally is in the know of literally every big project going on. It was kind of cool to hear.
It's fun. It's an interesting business. It's because it changes the skyline
Yep.
of towns like that. And so I find it fascinating, just as Nick does. So when you hear of not only companies moving from A to B, but new buildings going up and land trading for future developments to happen, it's just exciting. It's something that makes me get up in the morning.
What does that process look like? So if I'm a business owner and I'm looking for a new spot, how do we kind of go about that whole process?
Well, right now, which is something we'd like to hopefully change the mindset on a little bit, is most business owners are getting up and saying, holy crap, I need office space in the next 30, 60 days.
Yep.
That's difficult. We like to work with clients as far out as possible. And most people, when I'm talking to them, they'll say, oh, I don't need space for my lease isn't up for another year. Like that, so I got plenty of time. No, you don't. That in our world, that's tomorrow.
Right.
And so and especially with supply chain issues and construction pricing going up and lead times with supply chain issues that are happening, that 1 year is going to fly by in the blink of an eye, and then next thing you know, you're behind the 8 ball. So. That's one thing that we like to make sure that we're telling our clients is that you cannot engage us too early.
Yeah.
And then also,
what is the ideal time frame then?
Anywhere from a year to 18 months out is kind of the window. Depending on how large a requirement it is, there are some groups that we work with up to 2 years out. So it just all depends on market conditions as well, because there could be opportunities to see some savings if the market is timed right. Great example of that was COVID when the quarantine hit in March of 20. It seemed like every other tenant was saying, "Oh, I can't go to my office. I need rent relief. I need help. I need this." And everyone thought that the office market was going to take a nosedive. And there were, there were a few groups that got some fairly good deals out of that because they were going to landlords and saying, hey, I don't think I need this office anymore, or I want to just significantly downsize, let's renegotiate. And some landlords did, some landlords didn't. But it was an interesting time frame. Some good deals got done during that time frame. But ultimately, I think the market's on the upswing now.
Okay.
And so I think those kind of COVID deals are over, because with what's happened, and it's very, very detrimental to deals now is the construction pricing and the inflation on construction pricing that we're seeing. It's really starting to affect face rates of deals. And so what tenants still think that, oh, there's 20-30% vacancy, and I should be getting a screaming deal and all this free rent. Well, TIs are costing a ton still.
Yep.
And so that makes it difficult to see those great deals.
And on the supply chain side, is that kind of hindering new builds as well for big projects and stuff? So it's obviously delaying those, and so therefore tenants are having to go, well, where are you going to go?
Yeah. So one thing that we told a lot of our ownership groups, that if you have any vacancy in your building during COVID, now is the time to build it spec, get it ready, because there's a whole bunch of groups just renewing for 1 year, kicking the can down the road, because we called it the sandstorm. We're like, okay, no one knows what's up, down, left, right. No one knows how they're coming out of it. Right. So what we need to do is be ready for when this backlog breaks free. And next thing you know, there's going to be a ton of tenants coming back to the market, and whoever has move-in ready space is going to be in the prime position. And lo and behold, that is not only worked out well for a couple of reasons. A, reduce vacancy because you're going to lease up your space faster. Yep. But B, if you did tenant improvements to build out spec suites, in 2020, early 21, you spent 30 to 35% less on your construction costs than you are right now. Right. And not only that, the lead time and time frames of just build out. So before COVID and even slightly during it, we quoted people, hey, beginning to end, sign a lease, design your space, go in for permits, construction time, you're in 4 months, maybe 5. It's double that now. Like that, just because of delays with, architects are slammed. The municipalities can't review plans fast enough. Yep. Contractors can't find enough labor. They're actually poaching subcontractors from each other at different job sites, saying, I'll pay you double if you come to my site next and fill me and finish my job. So it's a battle out there right now, like that, to get people in as quickly as they need to be.
Yep. Worst project you've ever had? Favorite project you've ever had?
Oh gosh.
Don't have to name any names, of course.
Yes. Yeah. No, I can't say there's a worst project I've ever had, just because they're all fun for their different reasons.
Yep.
But I have had a couple of deals that I think it was an escrow for a sale that some items had come up during discovery that were detrimental to the buyer when I was representing the buyer, and I think we had to extend escrow a few times. And the sale, we were in escrow for over a year, like that. So, yep. So that one was probably the worst one as far as just unforeseen roadblocks that happen. Favorite deal, I would have to say, is just a couple of different projects that we work on. Like we do the leasing for SkySong, okay. Which is up at the McDowell and Scottsdale Road, where that big shade structure is. Yep. That has just been a fun project to watch that grow. We took that over in 2000. Was it 2009? That's when Andrew and Craig took it over. I joined the team in 2011, a couple years later, and it was only SkySong 1 and 2 at the time.
Okay. How many buildings are there now?
There's 5 existing now.
Okay. Plans for 6th as well.
Yeah. Is that going to be across the street, or is it on the same side?
No, it's the same side. Okay. So it's on actually the hard corner. Right? So it's an L-shaped building that'll be on the hard corner of Scottsdale McDowell there on the southeast corner. Okay. So 350,000 square feet. It's the crown jewel of the project. Oh, cool. It's double the size of the next largest building on site. So it's going to be beautiful. Yeah. And when it wraps up, that means 1.2 million square feet of office will have been built there, and I'd much rather have that than than the Coyotes arena. Though there are some people that say, "Oh, that should have been the Coyotes site," and I say, "No, SkySong paid for my house."
We love SkySong. Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd have to say that's probably one of the most fun projects I've worked on. Another great one is there's a owner developer called First Properties that owns 6 different buildings at Scottsdale Road and Greenway Parkway. So that's been a great client, a long, stable relationship, and I actually all the employees there at first, not only are they partners in business, but they're friends as well. So it's been a great relationship.
What the heck? I was baiting him, Nick. You're supposed to say Great American was his favorite client. I don't know what the heck.
I will say my favorite tenor rep client is Great American Title for sure.
Yeah,
no, 100%. On the landlord side, I did similar to Greg. I think one of the favorite listings that we work on, for me at least, is Park Central over at Central and Thomas. Similar to SkySong, very cool, kind of new school, a techie campus. It actually, used to be for a number of years an old shopping center, and actually growing up here in the Valley, I went to Brophy for high school, so I'd gone to that Starbucks there, many times throughout my high school career. So seeing that transformation, live in front of me, and now being able to actually work on it is really cool. And beyond that, now my alma mater from college, Creighton, just opened up their new medical school there. So it's really, really cool to see all of it happening.
What is going across from SkySong? there's all that new development going over there. It looks like it's multifamily. Is that pretty much it?
So Papago Plaza, yes. Yeah, so it's a great new development, much needed. So it got rid of the old Adobe style retail that was there. That was just dated and old, and the new site plan that's there and what they're building is fantastic. It's actually very much a complement to the area and to SkySong. So you're right, multifamily. So there's basically, if you see the project as kind of a triangle with the break out the old algebra. So if you got your A line being Scottsdale, your B line being McDowell, your hypotenuse C is going to be your it goes diagonal across to the residential there, just kind of to the southwest. Yep. Right at that hypotenuse, they're building. I think it's a little over 255 or so apartment homes.
Those have gone up quick.
Those have gone up quick, and they're and they're leasing up quick as well. So that's going to be a key driving factor to the success of that property, and then also fronting Scottsdale Road and McDowell on a meandering kind of bike path or ultra wide sidewalk is where they have either 5 or 6 different retail buildings that they're in the process right now of leasing. They've leased a building out to a grocery store. Okay. I'm not sure if we're allowed to disclose which one it is just yet, but
fair enough.
But think of organic and high end.
Enough said.
And so that deal is happening, and they're currently leasing out kind of in 3,000-ish square foot bays for more restaurants and more retail like that, which from everything I understand, they're having great traction on.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What other projects are coming up on the horizon that kind of excite you guys, or just new projects coming to Arizona that are just something cool that people should know about?
Oh, no problem. So I think one of the newest projects that we're a part of that I'm really excited about, it's called AZ202.
Okay.
And it's brand new development that's going to be happening on the southwest corner of Arizona Avenue and Pecos, so just off the 202 Santan. Okay. So huge mixed-use development project consisting of eventually 4 office buildings. There's going to be 2 smaller, kind of 2-story office buildings, and then directly behind those, a couple of 2 phase of 6-story office buildings, which are going to be Class A all the way. All glass, 16-foot high, clear ceiling heights, tons of amenities, and then also with surrounding, similar to Papago Plaza, frontage of retail along Arizona Avenue and Pecos. So it's going to be, a big development, which is kind of going to be the entry to the gateway to downtown Chandler. So if you're coming in off of the 202 Santan into Chandler, this will be the first project you hit, and with I think it's $1.5 billion or so that the city of Chandler has invested in refurbishing Arizona Avenue from downtown Chandler south to that 202 interchange. Okay. You're going to see that area, and you've actually already started to see that area change for the better drastically.
I mean, if that's coming in there, there's going to be some change.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So kind of segueing back to what we talked to earlier, so how long have you been in talks with that developer then on that project?
So that's been a fun one. So the developer has owned that site pre-Great Recession.
Okay.
And actually, he's been doing a fantastic job of making sure that he held on to that land. He was strategical in his thinking and getting rid of other assets and figuring out to do everything he could. He had a money partner that was a part of it that turned out to not want to develop it as quickly. It didn't share the same vision, so that was a handcuff. And so this project is literally about 14 years in the making. It's been that long.
Yeah.
They've had this plan going, and it's in with the site plan is in with the city of Chandler right now for approval.
That's definitely the big difference in commercial versus residential. It's definitely a long-term play in a lot of regards.
Yes.
The life cycle is sometimes even longer than the economy.
Yep. So. Nick, how about you? What's some of your favorite projects coming up?
Yeah, so recently Dorito Partners at auction just got a large parcel of land on the south side of the 101 along Scottsdale Road in Hayden, in between Scottsdale and Hayden. And so they're going to do a new mixed-use project there directly south of Cavasson. And Cavason's obviously a new great development that Nationwide has done a phenomenal job of doing. So it's going to be great seeing another mixed-use project go up there and just make that area even better than it already is.
So Scottsdale Road and what?
So in between Scottsdale and Hayden, along the 101.
Okay. All
Yep.
All right. So up north.
Just off of
Yeah,
Mayo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yep.
Because is that the same one that Optima's doing?
So Optima is they're going to be on the actual fronting Scottsdale Road in the 101.
Got it.
Yep.
Very
exactly. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of new stuff coming up.
Definitely.
So Nick, why Lee and Associates?
Yeah, so interviewed at a lot of different spots when I was first, getting into the business, and I got to say that the thing that really, made me comfortable with making the decision to go to Lee was the team, was meeting with Greg, meeting with Andrew, meeting with Craig, and even beyond that, meeting with other brokers in the community who, even mentioning their names, they're like, oh yeah, those guys are amazing. So when you have other people, with you not in the room talking about how great your team is, that's a team you want to be a part of for sure. So that's what led me to them.
Love it.
You earned your bonus.
What are the goals for the team?
Oh, goals for the team are vast. That we basically take over the world is number one. We just want to be the best team in the business. So your reputation is huge to us, and relationships are huge to us. So we just want to make sure that anyone that ever utters our name does so in a positive light. So that's very, very important to us. But as far as financial goals, we've averaged about 135 to 140 transactions a year, every year.
Yep.
Like that. So that's obviously a goal. What we like to do is make sure that we're hitting that, because it means we're closing a deal or two every single week, at least 2 deals a week.
Yep.
And so that means we're in the market.
Yeah.
And so that's how we kind of make sure that we're maintaining our market knowledge. Then another goal is we want to be the number one team, the number one producing team at Lee & Associates. And so that's definitely a high goal. And especially has been a difficult goal given the last 2 years of industrial going crazy, and multifamily. So we've had a history, especially my partner Craig, of being number one in the office for, it was I think 23 out of 24 years up until the last 2, and that's a lot to do with the industrial cycle just taking off.
Talk about
like
that.
Crazy.
Talk about the industrial boom that we're going through right now, because it seems like it's just ridiculous.
It's amazing. I tell people that COVID happened, and for office it was weed killer, and for some respects, and for industrial it was Miracle Grow.
Okay, good analogy.
Yeah, so it just that last mile delivery service and like that, and more regional distribution for online retailing. I mean, it just exploded, and so that with the inability of California to get out of their own way has really helped us. I mean, we had a very pro-business governor, and Governor Ducey.
Yep.
It's a shame he can't stay for another 4 years, because I love what he's done for us for the last 8. I don't like to get political because it's so polarizing, but you can't deny the pro-business environment that he's created.
He's done a great job for the state, no question about it.
So that's, I think, done a great job for the industrial market. The other thing that the industrial market and multifamily has done, because of this boom, they're gobbling up all the good office sites. Like that. So what was set to be, an office development, now multifamily guys coming in and buying in the land for twice to 3 times the price of what an office developer would pay to make work, and throwing in multifamily units or even industrial. So that's been a difficult portion of the office side. Industrial, the only, I don't want to say pitfall, but the only kind of warning sign that I'm starting to see that I don't think is something to worry about just yet is the fact that we've got 26 or so million square feet of product getting ready to deliver this year by Q4. Sorry. And what that means is, we're pretty close to hypersupply on that, but not really there yet, because 60% of that 26 million square feet is pre-leased. like that. So it's not like there's a whole bunch of speculative construction coming online that if there's a small hiccup that, we're going to go off a cliff. But what the only thing that kind of scares me about it a little bit is we used to be a market of, hey, 30,000 to 150,000 square feet is a good size industrial tenant. Now you're seeing groups come out and, they're doing speculative buildings of 1 million square feet, and they're getting gobbled up by Amazon and single office, single space users.
Amazon the biggest player in town?
They were in 2019 and 2020.
Okay.
They've slowed down a little bit.
Okay.
I think they've actually mentioned that they're in some markets, not in Phoenix, that they're actually giving some space back now.
I thought I heard that. They kind of thought they overbought a little bit in some markets.
I've heard rumors anywhere from 30 to 50 million square feet around the country they're going to put on the market for sublease. And with the market the way it is, if these other markets are similar to Phoenix, because they had their rapid growth in 19 and 20, they're going to make money on these subleases. So they'll end up doing okay. I mean, the media is marketing this as oh my gosh, Amazon's giving back 15 million square feet. Well,
they're making money on it.
I guarantee you they're looking at it as a strategic play. Like, okay, well, let's sublease the space and make more money.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. But just to wrap up the last thought on potential speed bumps is because of the Amazons of the world coming in and taking full buildings. If there is any type of hiccup or blip, some buildings and some projects are exposed to where they're just a single tenant in the entire building. So if they go away, there could be a potential onslaught of new availability coming on the industrial market. But like I said, if things keep just chugging along the way they are, there's no indications right now that show that anything bad will happen in the next 18 to 24 months at least.
Yep. If you're working with an investor on an office space, what is like the occupancy rate that they typically need to get to in a building to where it makes sense? Like, is it 50%? Is it 60%? 70%? What is like a typical?
Well, similar to everything else, you make your money on the buy.
Yeah.
On that. So the how you buy it's going to be critical. So some buildings, once you reach that 50% occupancy, you're cash flowing in the black. Of others, it's 80 to 90%, and that also depends on the cap rate that your performer wants to achieve. So there's a lot of factors that kind of go into that. But with that said, Phoenix has always been a high vacancy market. Our historical average vacancy is right around that 20% vacant.
Okay.
So the majority of the buildings, as long as you're, and I'm using the words leased and occupied interchangeably right now, well, they're two different things. Yep. Especially after COVID. So if you're 80-ish% leased, typically you're doing all right. You're hitting your pro forma. Now that being said, we're in a little bit of a different world now where buildings have maintained leasing. Like they're still kind of that 80-ish% plus leased around the on a market-wide basis. Occupancy is different. We're just now starting to see groups come back to the office, whereas probably midway through 21, buildings were 25-30% occupied. Yep. Groups were still working from home and telecommuting a ton. The good news is that we're starting to see those groups come back. So we're probably anywhere from 50 to 60% occupied, yep. Which is great, and it's still continuing to trend upwards. You're starting to see the Elon Musks of the world saying everybody come back. The interesting part is the war for talent that's out there. There's last numbers I heard, I think there was 11,000 or so more jobs available than there are employees in Metro Phoenix.
I was supposed to interview a girl this morning, and she texted me at 7:30. Never mind, actually, I accept an offer at another employer. I was like, okay.
Yep.
Thanks for the shot.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you know, the war for talent is real.
Yep.
And so, when you have unpopular statements like "everybody get back in the office or you're fired," we're in an economy right now where the employees can go, okay, bye, I got options. Yep. Fire me. I'm going to go work over here, or they're going to let me telecommute 2 or 3 days a week. Yep. So I don't think, for the time being, hybrid working isn't going anywhere. It's going to be
I agree.
a part of our future. But at the same time, it's not to a point where groups can downsize by 50%. We're still in a stage where people want their desk space. They want their dedicated space. They're going to come in. They're going to work 1 or 2 days a week. Actually, probably 2 or 3 more likely. And that means you can't reduce your footprint because you can't have people sharing space. If you're telecommuting 3 days a week or more, then you can start to see a little bit of hoteling, and that happens. So there's not going to be a huge downshift of desired office space for companies.
What we are seeing with that war for talent and folks kind of, deciding, hey, how do we get people to come into the office, is we're seeing a real flight to quality, right? So buildings that are heavily amenitized with nice finishes. So we're talking, gyms on site, restaurants on site, that kind of thing. Really a driving force now behind decision makers actually deciding on, where am I going to lease space this time? Because if an employee doesn't want to come back to the office, they can, go find another job. If you've got a really cool office that people want to be in, that's something that people will pay for. So when, maybe they do downsize slightly, but because they're, paying a higher rate for those, heavily amenitized buildings, their kind of line item for rent still is in, kind of the same ballpark it previously was.
Culture always trumps a lot, that's for sure.
Exactly, yeah, which is why we're seeing, folks like the George Oliver guys really, really taking off with their kind of lifestyle, experiential office product is really in demand right now.
Yeah, like Industrious.
Exactly.
Where they
Right,
provide
exactly.
food in the morning, every morning. They got breakfast, they got coffee ready available, open fridges, whatever you want. It's
And the main thing that employers are starting to do to drive people back to the office, you guys, to Nick's point, you really need to make them want to come into the office, and how you do that is by making your office space really, really cool. Owners are now recognizing that, and they're making their common areas really, really cool and amenitizing the buildings as much as possible. And the buildings that are having the most success, Nick mentioned George Oliver, which is a great local developer that has taken a bunch of older, kind of tired buildings and just completely ripped the skin off and redone them and made them super, super cool. And they've done that by, imagine taking an old office building and turning it into the new coolest boutique hotel. Like that's what people want. That's what they're coming to. So it's you've got these communal spaces, signature scents, and it's just a really kind of almost home feeling. And you're starting to see in your office space now, you don't just walk into a reception, see a conference room, turn a corner, there's a bullpen, and then offices on the perimeter. You're now seeing residential finishes like that in your office space. You walk in, and the reception is now combined with the break room, and it's a kitchen island, and it looks like you're walking into someone's kitchen.
right.
And it's inviting, and it makes people want to come in.
People standing around talking,
Exactly.
engaging.
Exactly.
The thought process behind the design aspect has certainly increased for sure.
What is the biggest need we have in Arizona right now?
The biggest need we have for Arizona right now is for construction pricing to stabilize. That to me is the biggest issue. That over the last 6 months or so has been the deciding factor in a lot of deals and holding up a lot of deals. So once construction pricing stabilizes, I think you'll start to see a lot more improvements in deal velocity, in new build. There's several proposed projects for office space that are basically on hold on that because pricing. And so it makes it very, very difficult.
Right. Yeah. If you don't know when you're going to get your wood, it makes it a little tough to start building. Steel trusses like that for they're actually redesigned buildings now because steel trusses are a 24-month lead time. And you can't perform something 2 years out like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Greg, Nick, thank you so much for coming on today. For everyone that wants to get a hold of you guys, how can they reach you?
All right, you can reach me at best way, 602-954-3777. That's my direct office line. Or you can reach me at Kafka, that's K-A-F as in Frank, K-A, at leearizona.com. Or you can always visit our website, c2advisors.com.
Love it.
Absolutely. My cell phone is 623-826-9701, and my email is nwhitehouse at leearizona.com.
Love it. Greg, like the egg, Kafka?
Yep.
Nick Whitehouse, like the house that we have our president in. Lee and Associates. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me again today, and stick around for another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Thanks, guys.